In this video, I'm starting a new series on note-taking I'm calling Obsidian for Students. In these videos, I will show you how to use Obsidian, a note-taking program, how to outline books and other resources, how to break out ideas for good notes, and how to use these notes for presentations, blog posts, and papers. The best place to start is here on the Obsidian website. You can come here for more information about Obsidian. There's lots of information here. Most importantly, you can download it. Now you can get Obsidian for both Mac and Windows and even Linux, as well as iOS and Android. And so whenever you come here, you'll get a version that's appropriate for your particular computer. For the iOS and Android devices, then you would just go to their respective app stores to do it. So anyway, you go here and you download the application, and then you install it on your computer, and then you run it. Now, I already have Obsidian installed, so I'm just going to open the program. When Obsidian opens, it'll open with your vault. A vault in Obsidian is what holds files and folders and such for you to take notes in. Well, I already have an existing vault, so this is what I see. What you're going to see is something that looks more like this right here. You're going to see this option to create a vault or open one. If this is your first vault, then you'll go create. When you create a vault, you'll give it a name. You can name it whatever you want, and you can have more than one vault on your computer. Now, Obsidian saves everything on a spot on your hard drive, and you're going to need to pick that spot. And so you'll go to, here on the location, you'll go to Browse, and you will find a place to store it. Now, my recommendation, if you're going to start using Obsidian and start putting a lot into notes, would be to save this on a place that you know is backed up. If you back up your hard drive regularly, then that works fine. If you use iCloud Drive, well, that's going to back up things. If you use OneDrive, that's going to keep things backed up. Dropbox also works as well. And so just put it in a place that you can be sure that your files are protected. I'm going to just stick mine here in this OneDrive area. I'm going to create a new folder and call it Study Things in Obsidian. Click Open, and now I can see that there is the path to that particular folder. And then I click Create. And so at this point, I have my Obsidian vault. Now this vault is empty. It has no notes because, well, I have not yet created the notes. So let's go ahead and jump into doing that. But first, let's talk about the interface. You've got a pane on the left, you've got this pane right here, and then you also have a pane over on the right. We're going to pay attention to the pane on the right in a bit. Right now, let's focus on the left and in the middle. The left right here, if you have this folder selected, is going to show you what files that you have. Here in the middle is where you're going to edit your files. So let's start by creating a folder, and I'm going to call it Presentations, because I'm doing a presentation right now. And so let's go in here, and I'm going to right-click or double-click since I'm on a Mac, or two-finger click since I'm on a Mac, and I'm going to create a new note, and I'm going to say this is going to be Intro to Obsidian. And I'm going to use this to start talking about how you take notes in Obsidian. So I've got the file there on the left-hand side. Over here in the middle section, we'll go ahead and open this up just to have it there. We're going to have our main note-taking section here in the middle. Up at the top is the title of the note, which I typed over there on the left. And then here in the middle is where I can put my notes. So what have we done? Well, talk a lot as an intro. So that's the first thing I did. Now, if I hit enter again, I'm going to say, all right, go to the website. And so what is going on here? I'm creating a list. How does this work? Obsidian uses something called Markdown for its notes. And so if you want to make a list, you just do a dash and then you start typing. And then when you hit enter, you actually get another dash. And then you could start typing. And let's see, I talked about the interface next. Okay, so that's how you can start typing lists in Obsidian. You can also just type regular text here as a paragraph. And that's how that ends up. If you want, you could also have headings. If you want a big heading, you put one hashtag here and you say outline. And then if you want another heading of the same size, you do another one here. Or if you want it slightly smaller, you do so. And so these are all examples of Markdown. And so the hashtags are used to make the headings. If you just do any regular typing, it's like a regular paragraph. And if you want to make lists, you just start with a dash, hit space, and you've got a list. And I'll do another one here. This is a list. And if I hit enter, I get another list item. And then if I hit enter, again, I get another list item. If I just hit enter again, the list is over and I can continue on. So that's a basic idea of how you create notes and how to do basic formatting in Obsidian. Now there's a lot more to Markdown. You can do more than this, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this and, of course, in other videos. Okay, so we've looked at the left-hand pane. You can create folders and you can create files. On the right-hand pane, we really haven't talked about anything over there, and we've got files here in the middle. So what I want to do is show off that right-hand pane. So I'm going to create another note. And so I'm going to go over here to the left-hand side, and I can create another one in this folder. Or if I just hit this file up here, it'll create one in the root. And it starts off with this file name, untitled, and I'm just going to call it sample note and hit tab. Now another thing about Markdown, and one thing that's great about Obsidian, is you can create notes and link them very easily. For example, if I wanted to write a note here saying something like, I sure do like making presentations. For example, and now I can make a link to my other file. Now this is super easy. All I have to do is do double square brackets and then type in the name of that note. And you can see it's popping up here. I can start typing part of it. If once it's found the note, I can just hit tab and it'll be finished. And once I take my focus off of that, it looks just like a link on a web page. And I can click on that and I can go to it. And here we go. I'm back at that other note that I made. Now let's draw attention to that right-hand side. Okay, so when I'm looking at this file over here, there's nothing of interest over on the right-hand side. If I'm looking at this file, there is something of interest. What does this show me? Well, there's two different types of link panes over here. Backlinks for Intro to Obsidian. What that means is, what are all the files that are linking to this file? So I can go there, and that will help me navigate to that one. Now, no file is linking to this one, and so therefore there's nothing here. However, I can see all the links out of this file to another one. I can see that, well, it does in fact link to Intro to Obsidian, so you can go there. Other things over here include tags, which we're not going to use today, and outline mode. And so I see here's my document. If I look over on the right, I see an automatic outline of this. And so I see outline as my top level. This is my big heading with one hashtag or one pound symbol. Here is my secondary heading with example Markdown. If I want to, I can create another one. And I can see over there on the right in this outline, I can see that this is now giving me a picture of what this file looks like from a structural standpoint. Now for Obsidian, the structure of how you do all of this, where you put your notes, what folders you use, that's entirely up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my basic structure. So I'm going to open up my vault, and I put all of my Obsidian stuff in this vault. I call it tasks and things. This is actually where I have items for creation. And so here in my create folder, I have presentations that I make. I have outlines for presentations like this one. I have outlines for presentations that I give in person. Whenever I create classes or do lectures, I put outlines in there for that. In this section, I have things about my life. And this could be my journal. And so I have a daily note that I put things into to help me with my to-do list, but also various other things. And this will be another discussion later on. I also have a notes section, and this particular section is primarily the knowledge building and note-taking side of things. And within this one, I have multiple folders. Not too many. If you have too many folders, then things get too fractured and your files are everywhere. Generally speaking, Obsidian doesn't actually need for you to use folders. I just use a little bit for organization. But I have some folders with some particular topics in it. And then I have some files in here, and this is what these MOCs, these maps of content, are for, to help me find some of those notes. And so this is how and where I typically do most of my note-taking. And here in templates, well, you have the ability with Obsidian to use various plugins, which is a discussion topic for another time. And I, for example, have a template for my daily note, and I have other different types of templates that I use here, and that's what that folder is. With Obsidian, the organization is entirely up to you. You can create notes in various places, link them all together, and make a really awesome note-taking setup, all that fits how you think and how you like to organize things. So that is Obsidian. That's how you get started with it. How you use a little markdown, how you create notes, how you link notes. In our next video, we'll talk about how to start outlining a document and then start making notes off of that document.